All right, great. Please go ahead. Thank you.
Okay, let me figure out the presentation.
Bro, ওই corner like না না ওইটা আচ্ছা ও আচ্ছা থাক এমনিতেও কিন্তু সবাইকে দেখা যাচ্ছে না দেখছো হ্যাঁ স্যার একটু বড় লাগতেছে ক্যামেরা পেছাইতে পারলে আর একটু ভালো হতো হ্যাঁ টেবিল তো পেছনে আনা যাবে না স্যার
Okay, can you see my slide window?
Yes. Yes.
All right. Okay, let's start. Again, thank you everyone for having me today. The title of my lecture and the focus of my lecture this morning will be about framing your vision. It's a short lecture about visualizing the news, creating personal work, and trying to use personal authorship as your main sort of tool to drive and push you forward in whatever visual communication or visual journalism endeavor you will be participating in. The idea of this lecture, as I mentioned earlier, is that everything that we do as visual communicators, visual journalists, is anchored on our personal experiences, our advocacies, also our knowledge of what is happening around us, world history, national history, racial biases, and so on. So all of these affect us as we produce our work, visual communicators and visual reporters. I just want to do a quick warning, content warning that there are some images that might be a little bit too artistic. So please be mindful. If you do have to step out, you can call my attention at any point of the presentation. I started this idea I cited this term, framing hard truth, a few years ago when I was asked to present at the MFA photography program at the Fox School of Photography. My friend was also a professor in that university, in that program, said, how do you actually visualize youth today? Especially for us coming from the majority world, the global south. Most often are secondary when Western publications look for visual reporters to do or to work on specific stories. So for me, I think the idea of framing hard truths is that this is something that we live in every single day. We live in developing countries, see it every day, it's a reality. It is not something that we parrot on, it's not something that we walk into and then we can walk out after. Of course, there's socioeconomic disparities amongst us, and especially with the subject that they photograph, that they cover. But at the same time, we're still more, I would say, knowledgeable and have a better perspective than some of the photographers and journalists that fly into our country. So the idea of framing hard truths is a continuous collaboration with different organizations, platforms, professors, lecturers, to continuously discuss the idea of how do we continuously report on hard issues, hard stories, important stories, but at the same time elevate our visual representation of what is happening. So hence I coined the term framing hard. To start off, I used this quote from a past article by Joel Silberg, very influential photography criticism writer. He did mention that the definition of great photography usually comes from the balance of between ideas and intention, and also the form and the content of the photograph. He did mention that all of this sort of coincide. Sometimes in a single photograph, or most often if you are a photographer threads along the line, long form, the balance between ideas and intent and forming content comes into your body of work, or at least in the work of the staff. So the importance is always being conscious of the work that we put in, the images that we turn, the images that we create, but at the same time, the messages that come along with it. And through this idea, through this hope and this perspective, we move forward in producing work that is more informed, more aware, but at the same time still tackles the hard issues that needs to be tackled around us. Now I pose the question, how do we choose the best frames to represent the story? So in the part of my presentation, the first part of my presentation, we rely on the idea of creating stories, creating narratives through images, through single frames, or starting a photography project, photography series, through the gesture of photography. For those who are not more or not too attuned in the process of long-form documentary producing photo essays, the idea of observing your subject, the community where your subject lives, or the subject in itself, is the first act on how to represent the story, the act of observation. Because without the act of observation, how do we gather information about the subject? How do we give more context to the stories that we want to create and the narratives that we want to create? And how do we differentiate ourselves from the parasitic journalists or the journalists and photographers who just come to create a more, a cliched version of a story that has already been done? So again, how do we choose the best frame to represent the story? Well, one aspect that can address this is, as I mentioned at the beginning of this presentation, is to be
from his end, right? He'll come back.
We lost our connection.
We lost the connection. That's
Number one.
right.
It is independent.
তুমি কিছু করলে না?
আমার এটার সাথে কোনো কানেকশন
কাছে আসছে না। That's right.
It's a focus on the collaboration between photographers, curators, spaces, and institutions in showing photography. Before, the collaboration mainly focused with photographers and journalists, and also photo editors who are thousands of miles away from the photographer. Most often, even I myself, some of the photo editors that I've worked with in the past years, I've never met personally, only through email, recently through social media. But the idea that we put emphasis on vision, putting emphasis on vision, is to have a face-to-face or a more close collaboration with this actors, with this and that is the emphasis on vision is our contribution to the understanding that all of these issues needs to be told. It needs to exist. Always.
That's এদিকে আবার চলে গেল না? বলতে হবে চলে আসছে
ওয়াইফাইও ঠিক মতো চলতেছে না। ওয়াইফাই চলতেছে না মানে
ক্রেজি শুড বি আমাদের কি মিডিয়া ল্যাবে গেলে ঠিক
না স্যার এটা তো পুরো ভার্সিটির সেন্টার এই অবস্থায় এরকম এরকম তো জেনারেলি করে না মানে এটা কিন্তু একেবারে যে ডিসকানেক্টেড হয়েছে তা কিন্তু না
না হালকা একটু ইয়ে ওটা
মানে
কভার
glitch।
করতেছ না
ভিডিও তো অফ করছে অটোমেটিক্যালি ভিডিও অফ করে দিচ্ছে কোন অবস্থা এটা ইউনিভার্সিটি চালাবে
প্রত্যেকটা কম্পিউটার ভালো সকল ক্লাস
তাহলে এটা
আইটি থেকে মনে হচ্ছে কারণ সকালে যে ক্লাস করবে সেখানেও ঝামেলা হচ্ছে না
মানে
স্লাইড অন হচ্ছে না ওয়েবসাইটে ঢুকতে পারছে না
ইন্টারনেটের প্রবলেম আর কি ইন্টারনেট ইস্যু
স্যার এই টাইপের প্রোগ্রামগুলো স্যার আমাদের যে কনফারেন্স রুমটা আছে
হ্যাঁ স্যারকে আমি বলছি যে
ওইটাতে স্যার বেস্ট হয় স্যার
কনফারেন্স রুমে আবার এই যে ওদের কথা কিছু
তাহলে
শুনতে পারবে না মাইক কাজ করে
কনফারেন্স
না
রুমে যাকে ওটা তো খালি থাকে স্যার
কোন
ওগুলোতে
কোন
আপনি
ক্লাস
বেশি
এসআইপিদের কনফারেন্স রুম
হ্যাঁ ওদেরও ওরকম কোয়ালিটি
না অন্যদের কনফারেন্স রুমই খোলা যাবে না
না তাহলে ইয়েতে আমাদের
PSS
পিএসএসটাই করা যাবে
স্যারকে আমি ওইটাই বলছিলাম কিন্তু
কারণ আমাদের কিন্তু 23 তারিখে আবার আছে সো 23 তারিখে we should not
রিজয়েন
join the rejoin
ইন্টারনেটই নাই স্যার অফলাইন ও মাই গড
নেটই নাই
নেটই নাই
can you call someone from the IT
তো 2-3টা ক্লাস নিয়ে যদি আপনি অ্যাড করতে পারেন তাহলে স্যার আপনি সিন্ডিকেটে ট্রাই করতে পারেন তাই না
হচ্ছে নেক্সট 603
হ্যাঁ
নেক্সট 603 নম্বর
রাইট সো এটা কি পুরো ইউনিভার্সিটিতে এরকম হচ্ছে ইটস নট জাস্ট দিস ক্লাস
স্যার মাঝে মাঝে এরকম হয়
603
স্যার
নাম্বার রুমে একদমই ইন্টারনেট কাজ করছে না এটা কি নেক্সট 603
Hey Vijay, sorry for the inconvenience, man.
I thought I was speaking, continuously speaking, and then no one was in the room.
I knew that, but we were not here. It's a trouble with the internet, right? It's not a common phenomena here, but it's just happening now. But please go ahead.
No worries, it's a common phenomenon here in the Philippines. So, which part did everyone last remember?
Karo,
Was it the emphasis on vision?
এখন বলো কোন পার্টটা লাস্ট ছিল সাকি তো ওয়াজ খুব কনসেন্ট্রেটেড
last point for emphasis on vision.
What is it?
The last point for emphasis on vision.
Oh, it was emphasis on vision.
Here?
No, we can't see the okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was this.
Okay. So let me recap. Why did I include this? The idea is that the emphasis on vision basically gives us empowers photographers with up-and-coming photojournalists, documentary photographers, on the idea that we are not just mechanical people. The emphasis on vision gives us a deeper meaning, gives us a deeper, mission on what we're doing. what we do is actually important in the ecosystem of information dissemination, journalism, and so on. So here are four aspects why the emphasis on vision is quite very important and should be given more emphasis. Number one is it falls continuously to the work of personal and independent photographers. Independent photographers show vision because it is detached from influence by publications or by commercial entities in this case, because it is molded by the photographer's perspective. Number two is it is a focus on the collaboration between photographers, curators, spaces, and institutions that work in the photograph that shows photographic work. Why is this important? It is important because the symbiosis discipline, cross discipline, is actually the survival. It shows other ways to survive in a world where photojournalism is continuously changing, shrinking publications, but also diversifying the platforms. So these are the collaborations and the symbiotic, I would say, relationships that we should form and give emphasis. Number three is contribution to understand other issues. Vision, personal vision, and all of this is actually important because apart from what we see and we hear in traditional news outlets, personal vision shows us the perspective, a deeper perspective of the photographer. Because the photographer would pursue this story, this topic, this project on his or her own or their own. And lastly, it is to promote the values of photography. When I say values of photography, these are not technical values. These are values that are important not only as a photographer but as a human being. Of the value of observation, observing other people, apart from yours, observing attitude, behavior is very important. And it contributes to how we describe, we visually describe and represent certain topics, certain subjects, and certain stories. So that's how that's why the emphasis in vision should be important and should always be highlighted in this form of conversation. Now, the next question is, if you don't, I mean, especially for those who are not from how do you actually convert or really use information that we probably read or hear or watch on television or even online? How do you convert that into visual information? This is something that just do a quick rundown on the idea of the virtual literature. When I say initially, earlier I said the value for vision is important because for practicing photographers, those are things that should continuously be done in order for us to continuously practice this practice. It's clear, visual recording pertains to certain topics, certain subjects that goes beyond. It is outside of our understanding, our philosophy, which means it also relates to other citizens, which is very important. Most often, if you start practicing as a photojournalist, most especially if you start going abroad and doing international assignments, sometimes it feels that your work is only for photographers. You publish your work with friends, they go, great work, great answers. Sometimes you're exhibiting, sometimes you win awards, but sometimes there are questions that, did I really get my message across? So this is important in visual recording. Because as mentioned in this quote, visual recording is something that visual recording is the core of our practice. We create images, we choose images that have messages, particularly because we want to drill into the mind of audience. Not necessarily mean that it's aesthetic, but it also means that it has value in certain stories and in certain narratives. So that's the importance of visual rhetoric. And you must be reminded that sometimes we get carried away with the process of creating images that are really visually appealing. And I'll show some examples later on of my own work. That's happening so much that sometimes I had to pull back and say, maybe I'm lacking message here, or sometimes I think I'm getting too much carried away with this subject that basically is the same thing. Now, I'm not familiar with this. I would say more documentary photographers than photojournalists, but he is someone that I really look up to. Asim Rafiq. So, for Asim Rafiq, I've always used this photo because this is the value of this is the value importance of what I'm saying now. The idea of bringing hard truths, the idea of showing and showing personal vision. So Asim Rafiq said in one of his earlier articles when he was still more active on social media, he did say that the concept of photojournalism is only relevant when magazines would publish it. Underlines the shallow knowledge and little respect for the motivations of the practitioners of craft. In fact, it is the lack of respect for the subjectivity, individuality, and knowledge of photojournalism documentary photographers that allows editors and owners to just on them present. But photojournalism is about photography. Photojournalists like activists, academics, intellectuals, writers, etc. are also motivated by moral, ethical, and political principles. Many are people with ideas first, and photographers second. If you remember my earlier slide, these are the derivative of what academics is saying. And through this show, especially if you are in the realm of pursuing photojournalism, this should be something that is part of your identity. That you are not someone who is just push a button. Something happens and I push the button and then I will it's not that. Photographers should have their own vision and own perspective. And this should be highlighted by collaborators, editors, publications. Okay? Are you all there?
Yeah, we can listen.
Now, I move on to the longer part, which is the second part of my presentation, which is pursuing personal stories. Why do we pursue personal stories? Why is personal stories important? What is it? I'll try to answer some of the questions and some of the things here. Basically, in my line of work as a documentary, initially as a photojournalist, as a news photojournalist, and then later on as a documentary photographer and slash visual storyteller, if I may say. What made me push on even until today is that I value work that I can do on my own. I have a lot of things that I'm interested in. There's a lot of stories out there that I want to pursue. But of course, there's limited budget, limited time, limited access. I can only do one. So the importance of personal stories usually comes from your personal goals, what you really want. You can say a lot of things. It might be the same, maybe half of the class will say the same. But how much do you want to say, how badly do you want to say this project, or this issue, or this topic? So the idea of pursuing personal projects is an opportunity to report on what's happening in the visual form. Next is, again, gives your vision and perspective. Uses your vision and perspective. And that follows the tenets of journalism. even in your personal vision, the guiding principle is still follow the journalistic standards, the high journalistic standards, ethical reporting, vetting, data gathering. Jumping into the how, where do you start? How do you pursue a personal project? Maybe there are different, I would say, inspiration or different, I guess, references for each individual. Maybe some of you are already doing personal work. Maybe some of you are inspired by the likes of Professor Matthew. Maybe some of you are inspired by other photographers. Or maybe some of you are inspired by non-photographers. But it is important to know and ask yourself, why do I want to pursue this? So, a personal story in the realm of visual journalism or in the context of visual journalism follows for sort of these areas and basics. Number one, is it news? Does it concern the community? Does it concern other people? Does it talk about an important, I would say, contemporary urgent topic? Next is a photograph. Some advocacy standards may be a little bit, I would say, vast and extreme, that most often as photographers it is hard to achieve. Number three, do you have access to this thing? This is one of the most important aspects of pursuing visual story. Important of finding someone willing to open the doors. And lastly is content. How do you play in, I would say, initially in the national use of analytics? Or maybe in the regional use of analytics, the national. And then the system international. Is it something urgent or something? If it's a news that connects to a global sort of topic. So these are the four, I would say, tips or part of visual journalism. Once you decide to pursue both projects or person. And the last is publishing. After all of this, again, you get enamored of the publishing process, you get so much access, you get so much information. But then, sometimes you just keep doing it. What I figured through my 24 years of producing work is that you still have to share it. You still have to publish it. Because storytellers, journalists, visual communicators, without having shared without having shared the data, the visual evidence that you've gathered, then you don't complete the process. Then it's basically a ego. Basically a self-serving endeavor. The publishing, sharing the working time is as important to do. And lastly, I think for those who want to get into, I would say, the visual aspect of photography, choosing and employing a photographic approach to create some sort of consistency and coherence to your project. There are some photographers who are reluctant at using specific technical, I would say, specifications to the camera. 35mm, that's it. I will shoot all of my work with this technical specification. Some are a bit more, I would say, experiment. Some will use a soy camera, some will use film, some will use infrared. in the realm of documentary photography, as long as it doesn't mislead your audience into thinking that they are looking at something different, or you are misrepresenting your subject. Then I would say anything that you feel that is apt or appropriate for the project, then go ahead and social media. Just sharing few images from my past project. So for example, for this work, the Gathering Paseco, where I produced for my final project for the Asian Center for Journalism Diploma in Photojournalism program. Actually, one of my thesis or my final project advisors was Dr. Shashino. My goal was to show individuals who are living in the fringes but trying to get out of a system of poverty, of a system of violence, a system of drugs. And I look at them not only as artists, not people, but I look at them as someone who's carving their way out of the society. So I put that for 2 years, documenting different aspects of this story, from children in the street, daily life, different activities, and so on. So what I figured that was important during that time was I just want to see how they live, how they carve way out of this, I would say, very difficult situation, or a very difficult community. And after 18 years of photographing regularly, almost every day I will photograph I selected different images to submit to, of course, my final project for the SFA program, but also to a grant because I wanted to pursue another project and I needed funding. I used this project because it was about communities, it was about witness, it was about the human trying to overcome adversity, about human experience. So in 2008, I got the ENSPIRE scholarship grant in the UK. I was the first person to be awarded with the grant, the very prestigious grant. But not only because I realized through that endeavor that collaboration aspect was quite good. When I lived in the UK, first time in the UK, I've never been outside Asia since before that. I saw how photography can actually be used to highlight stories, to highlight topics that are far away from where they want to see. So they want to show that there's a gallery in the UK. People looking at it, people visited the gallery for, I think it's one of the 3 weeks. But for me, it's important and memorable that experience working with certain individuals, for example, the curator of the gallery, the manager of the grant, photographers. It's very important that I own. The next project is part of an ongoing project. So, after that, when I showed the graphic processing board in the Philippines, I got a lot of questions. I got a lot of both positive and critical questions about showing work in the gallery, showing documentary work in specific spaces. But my conclusion was that, and I heard this in my past professors as well, that images actually access more than provide. Showing images that give away answers and basically leave nothing to the especially in the documentary. Certainly, the purpose of using a visual journal because it has to entice the viewer to ask questions maybe to you or maybe to themselves. You need to draw the audience and you need to pull in the audience attention of the audience and create a platform for them to actually converse about the topic. Maybe your interest will be later on research, but the topic will remain. You will continue to talk about what you've raised through your exams, and that is what the big goal. And that is also why the emphasis in vision is always higher. The next few slides are also from if you are lost, not lost, but like starting out the project. You actually start the project, I pick up the camera, yeah, I think that would be a good start. But if you want to be more refined, want your process to be a bit more refined, here's I would say initial steps. Take a picture of people on the streets outside or in an environment. Maybe you want to ask, how do you associate color with light? Especially if you are into color photography that exposes this kind of explosion of hues and different colors. This is from my trip in I think this is another New Year's and during this time I had no idea, I had almost a very limited knowledge about this region. But for me, reacting to what I see on the ground, whatever I was taking, was enough initially to start photographing. To think of things that I can photograph, to think of the stories I can produce while I was in the country, while I was in the region, while I was in the country. Next is why does ambiguity create more exciting images than illustration images? And what does that mean? So for example, in this global I intended the image to be such because it is part of past project about abused women and children, trafficked women and children. And if you are keen or familiar with this topic, and especially photography, you would know that you cannot really directly photograph women and children, anyone who is a victim of abuse and trafficking. So for me, I come up with the creative idea of maybe creating non-direct or non-traditional documentary work. So I started globally posting the faces of the rescued women and children with the plan that they care for. So for example, in this image, the woman Anna was photographed. It was in the camera, double exposure. So I shot her portrait initially under the photos, and then photographed the plants where that she took care to sort of hide her face and store an image of her in the aspect. So this is a different way of photographing victims of trafficking and use and through this way, I also wanted to highlight the idea of devil being visible, but at the same time, the topic should always be visible. Always talk about that. For the first one, this is something that the has business. How can I face to test and narrative of safety or danger? Safety for you. For example, speaking of the business often are explorers. And like we're in a place, new street, where there is good light, where there is a lot of things happening. Also, street photography can also lead to a documentary perspective. For example, in this image, this is causing a rickety wooden pole. So the context you see this as you aim the transition layers to shelter some landscape and so on. But if I added the context of this area was inundated by a massive tidal surge in 2013 that claimed thousands of lives.
Vijay,
Yeah.
let me just
Yep.
interrupt you a bit. Like this class ends in 4 minutes at 11:20, but
Okay.
we have another class which is the lab class, and
Okay.
I think you need some more time. We'll have like a 15 minutes break, and then we can continue to go ahead in a
That's
different.
going to be a different
It's gonna be a different room. Yeah,
room, but same people.
same people. Yeah, of course.
Cool. Okay.
So,
So,
if you don't mind, can we like call it off for 10-15 minutes and then get back with the same link?
okay.
Great.
I just stay on the link, or
Sorry, what's
do
that?
I stay on the link? I just stay on the link.
Yeah, I think you can, or you can also go out and come back after 15 minutes, because the students will take a break of 10-15 minutes.
Okay. See you in 15 minutes. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Vijay. See you.